Okay, so today we learn about chapter 3. Okay, so transportation. Okay, so before that, good morning class. Okay, so chapter 3, transportation. Alright, before this we learn about chapter 2. Okay, that is respiration, right? So how does the respiration occur? Okay, so you know that the gas exchange is occur in the alveoli. Okay, it's occur in the alveoli. Okay, it means that the red blood cell that has a low concentration of oxygen but the high concentration of carbon dioxide. Okay, so the in the alveoli it has a high concentration of oxygen and low concentration of carbon dioxide. Okay, so means there is a difference of concentration there. So the red blood cell, right, since it has a high concentration of carbon dioxide, okay, so the carbon dioxide will diffuse into the alveolus, okay, in the alveoli, okay, and then the alveoli that consists of the high concentration of oxygen, it will diffuse into the uh, red blood cell that consists of low concentration of oxygen. Okay, so you have to know that the fission is travel from the high concentration to the low concentration. Okay, so what happened after that? Okay, so what will happen after that? How does the red blood cell, okay, being transport, okay, to all our body, okay, to all our body system. Okay, so before that, okay, so we have to know that transport system in organism. Okay, so we already learned in form 1, right, they got a unicellular organism and also multicellular. Okay, so in unicellular usually is a simple organism. Okay, but they still need oxygen, okay, for the process of respiration. Okay, so in a simple organism, the required substance of cells such as oxygen and nutrient go directly into the cell by diffusion through the cell membrane. Okay, so let's say like a bacteria, right? Amoeba, paramecium, right? They only consist one cell. So how does they do the process of respiration? Okay, so they don't need a complex system like us. Okay, so because they are consist only one cell, right? So what happens is just diffusion. Okay, so the oxygen will go in and the carbon dioxide will go out. Okay, from the cell membranes. Okay, and then but complex organism, such as humans, such as humans, vertebrate and multicellular plants, okay, they have a specialized transport system, right? So this one is a unicellular organism. I explained for you a bit, okay, just now. Okay, so simple organism, okay, consisting of only one cell each. Okay, only one cell. Okay, so each cell is complete unit of life. Okay, so means they're able to do all the living process like reproduction, okay, digestion. Okay, they can do just by only one cell. Okay, so each cell is a complete unit of life, is able to carry out all the living processes in order to survive. So the example of the unicellular organism, that is amoeba, okay, amoeba, paramecium, okay, and sometimes it's called as a protozoa. Okay, alright, so this is the amoeba. Okay, so you can see here the oxygen enter the cell, okay, and then carbon dioxide is released, okay, is released, okay, to the surrounding. So it's only by using the diffusion, okay, by only the using the diffusion. Okay, and also they of course have a nucleus, right? So this one is to control all the activity that happen inside the amoeba cell. Okay, and then this is the paramecium. Okay, so this is also example of the unicellular organism. Okay, so the oxygen can only diffuse, okay, into the membrane cell, and the carbon dioxide, okay, also can diffuse out, okay, to the surrounding. Okay, only by the membrane cell. Okay, only diffuse using the membrane cell. So they don't need a complex system like us. Okay. Alright, so this is a euglena. Okay, actually this one is like they use fruits, okay, to draw the euglena, but this one is not a real euglena. Okay, so this is the fruits to describe, okay, euglena. Okay, alright. Transport system in complex organism, right? So multicellular organism. So we actually are a multicellular organism. Means we have more than one cell. Okay, so multicellular organism is more complex than the unicellular organism, right? So example like Hydra, okay, Spirogyra, fern, okay, or other plants, human being, and also all vertebrate and invertebrate animals. Okay, so this larger organism need many different type of cell to carry out their life process. Okay, so it's different from the unicellular because they only consist one cell. So all one cell can do every process. Okay, can do every process. Okay, but what like us, we need more than one cell. So each cell they have their own function. Okay, and then this larger organism need many different type of cells to carry out their life process. So this is achieved through specialization and also cell organization. Okay, so I think this one you already know, right? The nerve cell, right? The nerve cell. Okay, and then we have a muscle, okay, a muscle cell, okay, and then we have the for reproduction we have a sperm, right? We have a sperm, we have a ovum, right? So every cell they got their own function. Okay, that one is for the multicellular, but for the unicellular they don't need only one cell. They can reproduce new generation, and then they can also digest food, okay, and also they can breathe, okay, by using only one cell that they have, right? Okay, so this is the main transport system in human being. Okay, this is called as a blood circulatory system. Okay, it consists of the heart. Okay, this one is to pump the blood. Okay, and also this a vein. Okay, and this is the artery. Okay, so the circulatory system consists of the heart, right, of the heart and the blood vessel, okay, through which the blood flows in the body. Okay, and the circulatory system, okay, the blood flows through three types of blood vessels, okay, that names as artery, veins, and capillaries. Okay, so we see one by one later. Okay, arteries, vein, and capillaries. Okay, so what you have to know that consists of three. That is heart is to pump the blood. Okay, and then the vein and also the artery. So actually the artery is carry the oxygenated blood, right? Except for the artery pulmonary. So this one is a vein. Okay, so they got their own function. Okay, so usually the red one is actually applies the oxygenated blood, and also the blue one is actually the deoxygenated blood. Okay, okay, at least that one is for human. So how about the plants? Okay, so plant also they have their own transport system. Okay, they got the xylem and the phloem. Xylem is actually to transport water and mineral, and phloem is actually to transport food. Okay, so this is for plants, right? Okay, so what's the importance of the transport system? Okay, so the transport system is can carry the substance need by cell. Okay, so such as oxygen. Okay, such as oxygen and nutrients. Okay, so that one we already know. Okay, at the lung, the red blood cell will change, right, do the gas exchange to the with the alveoli. Okay, oxygen, they take the oxygen, then they give the carbon dioxide to the alveoli. Okay, and then this one is for the oxygen. Okay, so this is the function of the red blood cell. And nutrients, so where the nutrients come from? Okay, I think you already learned in form 2, right? The digestion system. Okay, they got the blood capillary. Okay, on the small intestine, then you got the vilus there, right? And then inside the vilus, they got the blood capillary. So this blood capillary is actually is due to transport all the nutrient, okay, all the nutrients from your food, okay, that been already break down, okay, to the simple molecule, okay, that then the blood will absorb the nutrient and it will transfer throughout our body. Okay, so that is the function of the transport system. Okay, it's not for just transporting the oxygen, okay, but it's actually transport the nutrient, okay, that food that we eat and already been break down to the simpler form. Okay, so that one actually you already learned in form 2. Okay, that are used to produce energy through cellular respiration. Okay, The food that we eat, you know, the last product for the carbohydrate is the glucose. Okay, so and then the glucose, okay, will be transported by the blood, okay, and we do the cellular respiration that produce energy. Okay, so that is the nutrients come from. It's come from the food that we eat that we already broke down and we absorb by the small it been absorbed by the small intestine. Okay, because of the wall of the small intestine, actually they got a pilus. Okay, so actually, like, wait, I draw first. Okay, maybe you already forgot. Okay. Okay, so this is your small intestine. This is the wall of your small intestine. Okay. Alright, so inside of the vilus here, they got the blood capillary. Okay, so when the food is already finished, it's already being broke down, okay, to the simpler form. So let's say the carbohydrate is already being break down to become a glucose. So the glucose will be absorbed by the blood capillary here. So inside this, they got the red blood cell. So the red blood cell will bring the glucose, okay, to the cell that needs, right, say needs energy. So they will do the cellular respiration and they produce the energy. So means the red blood cell is not just bring the oxygen, it's only bring for the nutrient, also for the produce of energy. Okay, this is cellular respiration. Alright, so this energy is used for living process in organism. And then the next one is a transport system. Okay, so transport system carries substance needed by plant cells such as mineral, salts, water, products of photosynthesis. Okay, and to carry out all living process in plants. Okay, so in plants also they got the can carry the substance, okay, by using the phloem and xylem, okay, just now. Okay, that one we learn, okay, later. Okay. Okay, so that one is actually to carry the product of photosynthesis that I think you already know. Okay, glucose, okay, right, and then also a starch. Okay, so if they store the food, the plants will store it as a starch. Okay, alright, so that is the importance of the transport system. Okay, so let me summarize for this one. It's okay, so it's actually to transport the oxygen, okay, by the red blood cell. Okay, this one is occurs at the lung, okay, and also from the nutrient. Okay, this one is from your digesting system. Okay. Okay, so this one, the food that already broke down, let's say glucose, okay, will be absorbed by the red blood cell, okay, for the respiration to produce the energy, okay, by this process, cellular respiration. Okay, this one you already learned in Form 1, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So the transport system eliminates toxic waste, okay, products from the cells in organism to the external environment. Okay, the toxic waste product that fail to be eliminated from the cell will poison and kill the organism concerned. Okay, this one is also involving our digesting system. Okay, you know, at the large intestine, okay, the water will be absorbed. Okay, the water will be absorbed and it will be absorbed okay, using the blood capillary and goes to your kidney. Okay, then after that it will be released, okay, as a urine. Okay, so this one is also involving your digesting system. Okay. Alright, so we move on to 3.2. Okay, so now you already know, right, what is the function, what is the important to have the blood circulatory system, okay, for like us, complex organism, okay, multicellular organism, and how does the unicellular organism, okay, they change the gases, okay, only by one cell, okay, they can do all the living process, okay, but for us, we are multicellular organism, we have to have a lot of cell and each cell have their own roles, right? So for muscle cell, it's actually for the movement, for the reproduction, for the ovum and sperm, they are for the reproduction system, okay, and for the nerve cell is for the all the reflex action of all that, okay, and then so there's a lot, okay, there's a lot of type of cell, okay, so we are very different. Okay, and then the blood circulatory system. Okay, the blood circulatory system of vertebrates. Okay. Alright, so the first one we see the fish. Okay. So before this we already learned also. Okay, how does the gas exchange for fish? They just use the gills. Inside the gills they got the filament. Okay, and then they got the lamella. Okay, so I think I already teach you that, and I hope maybe you still can memorize. Okay, so fish they only got two chamber. Okay, they got two chamber here. Okay, so ventricle and atrium. Right. So let's say the deoxygenated blood, right, it's come from the body. Okay, so what does the oxygenated blood means? Okay, deoxygenated blood means blood is more carbon dioxide and less oxygen. Right. So oxygenated blood means its opposite. Okay, less carbon dioxide, more oxygen. Okay, so I hope you're not confusing. Okay, so from the body, of course, right, our body will take the oxygen from the red blood cell and it will release the carbon dioxide. Okay, so this is the deoxygenated blood, right, from the body. Okay, so it will travel to the atrium. Okay, so they only got two chamber here. Okay, travel to the atrium, and then the atrium will pump it to the ventricle. Okay, and then the ventricle will go to the lung. Okay, for the gas exchange to occur. Okay, and then it's not the lung, it's actually a gills. Okay, sorry, it's not the lung. Okay, so it's actually the gills. So at the gills there will be a gas exchange occur. Okay, so now the blood is already become the oxygenated blood. Okay, because they already get the oxygen from the gill. So the oxygenated blood travel against to the body. Okay, now the body will take the oxygen and release the carbon dioxide. Okay, now at here it become the deoxygenated blood. Okay, and then it will travel back to atrium, and then the atrium will pump back to the ventricle. Okay, and then the ventricle will pump the deoxygenated blood back to the gills. So that is the gas exchange occur. They take the carbon dioxide, okay, and then they give the oxygen to the blood. Okay, now it become oxygenated blood, okay, and they travel again. Okay, this is called as a single circulatory, a single circulatory system. Because only one way like this. Okay, one way like this. Okay, so this is for fish. Okay, this is for fish. Okay, alright. So this is the explanation, okay, that I already explained. Okay, next we see about the amphibian. Okay, so let's say for frog. Okay, for frog they only got three chambers. Okay, left atrium, right atrium, and so one ventricle. And you can see here at the ventricle there is no partition. There is no partition. Okay, there is no partition that divide the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Okay, so they don't divide the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Means here the blood is mixed with oxygenated blood and also deoxygenated blood. Okay, so amphibian they got two atrium and one ventricle. Okay, and then the first one, of course, this part. Okay, for this part, this is a deoxygenated blood. Okay, systemic capillary means it's come from the body. Okay, and then it goes to the heart here. So this one is deoxygenated blood. Okay, it goes to the right atrium, enter the right atrium, and it goes to the ventricle. Okay, and then from the ventricle, okay, since you can see this one is the purple color, this is the mixed blood. Okay, and then the deoxygenated blood will go to the, okay, this mixed blood is actually will go to the lung, right? So this is the part where the gas exchange occur. So all the deoxygenated blood now is become oxygenated blood. Okay, because it gets the oxygen from the lung and give the carbon dioxide, right? Okay, and then after that it become the oxygenated blood here, then it travel back to the left atrium. Okay, at the left atrium here, okay, actually it become the oxygenated blood. Okay, but when you enter here, because you know there is no partition partition to differentiate between the oxygenated and deoxygenated. So it mix here, it mix back. Okay, it mix with the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. So when it mix, this one will be transferred back to the body. Okay, it will transfer back to the body. So here at the body, the gas exchange occur again. You will take the oxygen, you will give the carbon dioxide. Okay, and then it travel back to the right atrium, it become deoxygenated blood completely. Okay, so deoxygenated blood here, okay, deoxygenated blood here, okay, it goes to the ventricle, okay, and it mix with the gas, with the oxygenated blood. Okay, it will mix, then it will go back to the lung, it takes the oxygen and release the carbon dioxide, then it go back to the left atrium, become the oxygenated blood. But since this here, they don't have the partition, means all blood is mixed up. Okay, then it send back to the body. So that is the cycle. Okay, so this one we call it as a double circulatory system. Okay, because you have a two-way, right? Just now only one way, right? For the fish, okay, before it's only one way, but for amphibian is a two-way. But this one is not complete. Why? Because of the oxygen and the deoxygenated blood is mixed up. Okay, it's not a complete circulatory. Okay, it's incomplete because the gas mixed up. Alright, so next we goes to, this is the frog. Okay, I already explained to you what happened. Okay, this is the diagram for the reptiles. Okay, alright, actually for the reptiles, okay, for the reptile it's same like the amphibian. Okay, but actually they got the partition, but it's only half. It's only half. Okay, just now for amphibian there is no partition at all. Okay, but for the reptile they got but only half like this. Okay, means the blood is still mixed but less compared to the amphibian. Okay, so the way the transport is just same as the amphibian. Okay, and the only thing is different here, they still got still same, means got two atrium and one ventricle, still got three chambers. Okay, but they got the partial here, partial partition, half partition. Okay, means the blood oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood will not mix. Okay, like the amphibian. Okay, will be less, right? But the way the blood is transferred, okay, is just same. Okay, but except for one, for the crocodile, they got two atrium and two chambers. Okay, but other than that, they got like same like this. Okay, for reptiles. Okay, so remember the only difference is they got the partial chamber, half of the partition here. Okay, mammal and bird. Okay, so we are actually a mammal. Okay, so we can see the difference here. Okay, we have four chambers. Okay, that consists of two atrium here. Okay, two atrium here and two ventricle here. Okay, and you can see there is a septum here to divide the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Alright, this one is for mammal and also for the bird. Okay, alright, so for this one, let's say I start from the body. So I know the red blood cell from the body, they have a low oxygen, high carbon dioxide. Okay, so means they have a deoxygenated blood. Okay, deoxygenated blood, we go to the right atrium. Okay, and it will enter the ventricle. Okay, after that it will be pumped out, okay, to the lung. Okay, where the gas exchange occur there. So now from the deoxygenated blood, they become oxygenated blood. Okay, then the oxygenated blood travels to the left atrium. Okay, then enter the ventricles. Okay, then it will go out. Okay, it will be pumped out to all our body. Okay, to all our body, right? And then the gas exchange occur. So it become the oxygenated blood again. So this is the cycle. Okay, and this one is called as the complete blood circulation because the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood is not mixed with each other. Okay, alright, and this is called as a double circulatory system. Okay, so I hope you can differentiate, alright, between the fish, amphibian, reptiles, mammals and birds. Mammals and birds is actually same like us. Okay. Alright, so now we see the human blood circulatory system. Okay. So the human blood circulatory system consists of heart, okay, blood, and also the blood vessel. Right, so the blood vessel that carry blood out from the heart, okay, out from the heart, we call it as the arteries. Okay, okay, arteries. Okay, and then the blood vessels that carry the blood into the heart, okay, into the heart, we call it as a veins. Okay, we call it as a veins. Right. So in the veins, okay, blood is prevented, okay, from flowing backward, okay, by valves. Okay, so this one is actually they got the tricuspid, bicuspid, okay, semilunar, or sometimes they call it as a crassial, okay. Got several names, but it's actually the same, okay. So this is the three blood vessel, okay, arteries, vein, and also valve. Okay, so the blood vessel that carry bloods out of the heart is actually usually is the oxygenated blood, right? Because it's carried out from the blood. Okay, so this one is actually oxygenated blood, so mean they will travel to the our body part. Okay, and then this one usually carries into the heart. This one usually is a deoxygenated. This one is um, from our body, okay, to the heart, and the heart will pump it to the lung. Okay, so I hope you still remember how does the process of the transportation of blood. Okay, the first, right, the blood, the body, okay, the body will transfer the blood, okay, transfer the blood into the heart. The heart will pump it to the lung. Okay, so this is deoxygenated. Okay, this is deoxygenated. Okay, and then the lung will send back. Okay, this one after it goes to the lung, it become the oxygenated blood, right? So the oxygenated blood will go back to the heart. Okay, now it become the oxygenated blood after it goes to the lung. Okay, and then the heart will pump to the body. So this is the cycle. Right, this is the cycle. Alright, so this is the diagram. Alright, so this is the artery. Okay, artery. Okay, the red one. Right, then I told you this one is actually to pump out the blood out from the heart. Okay, and this is the heart. Heart is the muscle. Okay, it's a muscle. They can pump the blood to the whole body, right? And then this is a vein. They carry blood to the heart. You can see it's a blue color, means the oxygenated blood, right? And Vena Cava is the largest vein, and this one is the aorta, is the largest artery. Okay, and the blood capillary is actually it connects the artery to the vein. Okay, connect the artery to the vein. Right, so this is the three blood vessel that consist in our blood circulatory system. Okay, artery, blood capillary, and vein. So artery is the one that usually carry the oxygen, okay, oxygenated blood, and it carries the blood away from the heart, means it pump out from the heart. Okay, and this one, the vein, is actually to the blood carries the blood that goes into our heart and will be pumped out to the lung for the gas exchange. Okay. Okay, circulatory system in humans. Okay, so human have a double circulatory system. Okay, this one is like a mammal just now. Okay, because they got two ways, right? Okay, the one go in and one go out. Okay, and a double circulatory system consists of a pulmonary circulation and a systemic circulation. Okay, so later we will see what is actually the pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. Okay, the blood plus passes through the heart twice for each circuit of the body. Okay. Okay, so what is the advantage to have the blood, the double circulatory system? Okay, and then the advantage is the oxygenated blood returns to the heart to be pumped again before being distributed to the rest of the body. Okay, so this one to increase the pressure. So let's say we don't have the double circulatory system, so only like once, but you know our system is very complex, right? It's very big. Okay, so if you don't have the enough pressure, so maybe some of the area of maybe some of the part of our body will not get the oxygen, so that's why it's needs, right, to be pumped again. Okay, so this one to increase the pressure, so means the whole part of our body can receive the oxygen, and also it can speeding up the delivery. It means it can increase the blood flow. Okay, increase the speed of the blood flow. Okay. Alright, so next we go to the type of blood circulation. The first one is the pulmonary, and the second one is the systemic circulation. Okay, so pulmonary is actually from the heart to the lungs. Okay, and then systemic is actually from the heart to the rest of the body. Right, so let's see the meaning. Okay, pulmonary circulation consists of blood vessels, okay, that transport the deoxygenated blood, okay, from heart to the lung. Right, this one I already told you just now. Okay, so it carry the oxygenated blood from heart to the lung, so it can be changed again to the oxygenated blood. Okay, and to be oxidized, okay, and return oxygenated blood to the heart. Okay, so pulmonary is actually, the meaning of pulmonary is the lung. This is the scientific name. So that's why we call it as a pulmonary circulation, because it's involved lung in this circulation. Okay, so pulmonary circulation consists of blood vessel that transport the oxygenated blood from the heart to the lung. Okay, means this one, let's say from our body, they already take the oxygen from the red blood cell. Now the red blood cell become deoxygenated blood. It goes to the heart. Alright, and then the heart will pump with the deoxygenated blood to the lung, and it will oxidize. What does it mean by the oxidize? Oxidize means it gives the oxygen, okay, to the red blood cell. So means it's oxidize the red blood cell. Okay, so and then after that it will return back to oxygenated blood and it go back to the heart. Okay, so that's the pulmonary circulation. Okay, so it stop to the heart. Okay, and then from the heart it will be pumped to the all the tissue body. Okay, so the systemic circulation, alright, the systemic circulation consists of aorta and all the branches, okay, right, that transport oxygenated blood. Okay, remember just now I told you arteries actually bring the oxygenated blood, vein brings the deoxygenated blood, right? Okay, so consists of aorta and all the branches, artery that transport oxygenated blood to the body tissue and return deoxygenated blood to the heart. Okay, now we already stopped just now. The oxygenated blood transport to the heart again, right? And then the heart will pump. Okay, the heart will pump out through the artery. Okay, to the body tissue. Okay, now it become the deoxygenated blood, right? Okay, and then they use a vein here, okay, to transport back to the heart. Okay, and then after that, the heart again will pump to the pulmonary to get the oxygen. So that one is the pulmonary because it's involved the lung. So this one is actually a cycle. Okay, like this. Okay, this one, deoxygenated blood. Okay, pump to the lung. Okay, this is and then travel back to the heart. Okay, this is pulmonary circuit. Okay, and then it become oxygenated blood now at the heart, and then it will transmit through all out the body. Okay, and then it goes back to the heart. This is called as a systemic circulation. Okay. Right, so this is actually the diagram. Okay. Next, what is the heart? Okay, the heart is a muscular organ which can contract and relax, okay, continuously to pump blood to the whole body. Okay, so this is the structure of the human heart. So this one you have to remember the structure. Which one is the aorta? Which one is the pulmonary artery pulmonary? Which one is the ventricle? Left ventricle, right ventricle, and also left atrium, right atrium. Okay. Alright. So this one, this is the right atrium, right ventricle. Okay. This is a pulmonary artery. Okay, artery pulmonary. Okay, and this one is a left atrium, left ventricle, and this one is the aorta. Alright, this one is the aorta. Okay, and you can see here the wall of the ventricle. Okay, the left ventricle is thicker compared to the right ventricle because this one in it, okay, a lot of pressure, okay, to push the oxygenated blood to all our body part. Okay. Alright, so this one is a right atrium. Okay, I already explained that one. Okay, and this is called as a vena cava. Okay, and there's a valve here. Remember the valve that actually prevent the flow back of the blood. Okay, so this is the valve. Okay, this is a tricuspid valve. Okay, and this one is a actually it's a crash valve. Okay, and then this one is the um, bicuspid valve. Okay, bicuspid valve. This one is also still called as a semilunar valve. Okay, so all this is actually the part of the heart. Okay, that you have to remember. Okay, you can refer your textbook. Okay, and this part, the blue one is the oxygen poor blood. This one is the oxygen rich blood. Okay, so this is actually the part of the heart. Okay, the structure of the heart. Okay, right ventricle, left ventricle, but there's some of it that you don't need to remember. Okay, okay, I will just highlight which one you need to know. Okay, wait. Okay, this one you have to know. This one is a vena cava. Okay, semilunar valve. Right, this one I already explained. Both ventricle they got the semilunar valve here. Okay, and this one you have to know. Okay, this one also right pulmonary veins. No, this one is the atrium. Yes, you have to know. Tricuspid valve. Yes, you have to know. Okay, and this right ventricle. Yes, right. This one, no need. Okay, yeah, this one septum. You have to know. This one is used to divide the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Okay, and then you have to know the left ventricle here. Alright, and bicuspid valve. Yes, you have to know. Okay, and then left atrium. Okay, pulmonary vein. Okay, pulmonary vein. Okay, and semilunar valve. Yes. Okay, and artery pulmonaries. Yes, and aorta. Yes. Okay, this is the one that you have to remember. Okay, you have to remember the structure. Okay, other than that, this one is actually the high level one. Okay, can refer your textbook. Okay, for the you can refer this one. I show you the textbook. I think I have. Yeah, yeah, this one. Okay, this one you have to remember all the part. Okay, the septum, what is the function? Okay, so we will see later what is actually function of all of this part. Okay. Alright, so we move on to the next slide. Okay. Okay, heart it divides into two parts. Okay, the left one and the right one. Okay, and the upper part we call it as a left atrium. Okay, I think you already know this one is the left atrium is here. Okay, alright, and this is the right atrium. Okay, oops. Okay, and the lower part we call it as the left ventricle. Alright, and the right part is called as the right atrium and right ventricle. So for us, we got a 4 chambers. Okay, we got a 4 chambers. Okay, so each part is joined with the large blood vessel. Okay, so we call it the pulmonary vein in the pulmonary vein in the left atrium. Okay, pulmonary vein in the left atrium. Okay, and vena cava in the right atrium. Okay, so this is where the oxygenated blood or deoxygenated blood enter the heart. Okay. Alright, and then aorta is the left ventricle. This one, it brings the oxygenated blood throughout our body. Okay, and pulmonary artery in the right ventricle. So we always see what is the function for each part. Okay, so they got the large, each part is joined, means it's connected. Okay, with the larger blood vessel. Okay, right atrium. Okay, what is the function of the right atrium? So deoxygenated blood, okay, deoxygenated blood from the whole body except the lung, okay, will enter the right atrium, okay, through the superior and inferior vena cava. Okay, so means the oxygenated blood will enter, okay, will enter from the vena cava, from here. Okay, so we enter from here, deoxygenated blood. Okay, so this is the right atrium, right? So the deoxygenated blood will enter the vena cava and goes to the right atrium. Okay, alright, so next. Okay, then when the right atrium contracts, okay, so deoxygenated blood is forced to flow into the chamber below, namely the right ventricle. Okay, so I move to the previous slide. Okay, so on here it will contract. Okay, so when it contract, it will force the blood, deoxygenated blood, through the right ventricle here. So it will contract. Okay, the muscle will contract, so it will force the red blood cell goes to the right ventricle. Okay, so that is what happened at the right atrium. Okay, and then you have the tricuspid valve. Right, so what is the function of the valve? Just now we already discussed the valve is actually to prevent the flow back of the blood, right? So it's only allows the flow of blood in one direction, means from the right atrium to the right ventricle. Okay, so we see the diagram. Okay, so this is the tricuspid valve. Okay, this is the tricuspid valve. Okay, so when the right atrium, the blood enter the right ventricle, it only allow it flow from in one way only. So no flow back for the blood. It will block. Okay, it will block the blood from flowing back. Okay, so that is the function of the tricuspid valve. To make sure that the blood only travel from the right ventricle to the right ventricle. Okay, no reverse. Okay, alright. So the next part, we already see the tricuspid. Okay, then what happened at the right ventricle? So when the right ventricle contract, okay, deoxygenated blood is forced to flow out into the pulmonary artery to be carried to the lung. Okay, so I highlight for you. Okay, so we go to the diagram. Alright, so now the blood is already here, right? So right ventricle is contracting. Okay, it will contract. So when it contracts, the blood will goes to the artery pulmonary here. Okay, okay, goes to the pulmonary artery here. Okay, alright, and you can see there's one more valve here that we call it as a semilunar valve, or sometimes it calls it as a crassial valve. Okay, that one is actually to prevent the flow back of the blood back to the right ventricle. Okay, so it goes to the artery pulmonary, then the blood will goes to the lung for the gas exchange. Okay. Right, so allow the flow of blood in only one direction from the right atrium. So this one already explained, sorry. So this one, the right ventricle contracts, so deoxygenated blood is forced to flow out into the pulmonary artery to be carried to the lung. So you have to remember where will it flow. Okay, after goes to right ventricle, where it will go, right? Okay, then you have here semilunar valve. Okay, this one I already explained. This one is to make sure the blood flows only in one direction and not back into the ventricles. Okay, so that is the function of semilunar valve. Okay, now I already finished explain about the right atrium. Okay, so now we go to the left atrium. Okay, so I go back to the diagram here. Okay, so now it already goes, the deoxygenated blood goes to the lung, and also I think you already know the gas exchange will occur at the lung, where the oxygen will be diffused into the red blood cells, right? Now they become the oxygenated blood, right? So now the blood from the lungs now, the blood to the lungs now, the deoxygenated blood that goes to the lungs, now it already changed to oxygenated blood. Okay, because it's already take the oxygen at the lung, so it become the oxygenated blood. Okay, so now it will travel back to the, move to the next slide here. Okay, so left atrium. Okay, so now it already become oxygenated blood. So the oxygenated blood from the lungs enter the left atrium, alright, to the pulmonary vein. Okay, so it will enter the left atrium through the pulmonary vein. Okay, through the pulmonary vein. Okay, so when the left atrium contracts, it's the same that the right atrium. Is contract, it will force the blood, the oxygenated blood to the left ventricle. Okay, to the chamber below it that we call it as the left ventricle. It's just same as the right atrium. Okay, just the left and also the type of blood that being forced. Okay, whether oxygenated or deoxygenated. Okay, and then we got the, are you seeing it? I show the diagram. Okay, now the oxygenated blood goes to the pulmonary veins and enter the left atrium. So the left atrium contract, it forces the blood, oxygenated blood, to the left ventricle here. Okay, so when it enter the left ventricle, then what happen next? The left ventricle also will contract. Alright, when it contract, it goes to the aorta. Okay, and you can see here they still got a valve here. There are two valves here. This one is a bicuspid valve. Okay, bicuspid valve. This one the same function also. Okay, is to prevent, right? To prevent the flow back of the blood from the left ventricle to the left atrium. Okay, so it will block. Okay, it will block the flow of the blood if they want to move back. Okay, right, and then still here we have got the semilunar valve. Okay, both here we call it as the same name. Both is a semilunar valve. Okay, the semilunar valve, when the left ventricle contract, the blood will force out to the aorta here. Okay, so again the semilunar valve prevent the blood from the aorta flow back to the left ventricle. So after that it will be pumped out to all our body part. Okay, right, so I explained that one. Okay, this one also I already explained. They got the bicuspid. Okay, it's to prevent the blood, from flow back, or you can say it allow the flow blood in only one direction, that is from the left atrium into the left ventricle also can. Okay, and the left ventricle is contract, the oxygenated blood is forced to flow out into the aorta that be carried to all parts of the body except the lungs. Okay, and then this is the function of the septum. This one is to prevent the oxygenated blood from mixing with the deoxygenated blood. This one also we already explained that one. Okay, septum is to divide, and we already see that for the vertebrates only mammals got, right? Mammals and birds. Okay, for amphibian and reptiles and also fish, they don't have the septum. Okay, especially for the reptiles and amphibian, they don't have a septum, so their oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood are mixed together. Okay. Alright. Type of blood vessel. Okay, so type of blood vessel. So we have a vena cava here. This one is to transport the deoxygenated blood from all part of body to right atrium. Okay, so this is where the deoxygenated blood enters. And the pulmonary artery, okay, is transport the deoxygenated blood from heart to the lung. Okay, so remember I said just now, when you say about pulmonary, the meaning of pulmonary is actually lung. But the scientific name is a pulmonary. Okay, so means this one must involve the lung. Okay, so artery means it must be involved the lung. So it transport the deoxygenated blood from heart to the lung. Okay, how about the pulmonary vein? Okay, pulmonary vein is transport oxygenated blood from lungs to the heart. Okay, remember just now when I said artery is actually only carry the oxygenated blood. Okay, okay, all artery is actually transport oxygenated blood except for pulmonary artery. This the only one for the artery that actually transport deoxygenated blood from hearts to lung. And for vein, remember just now I told you is transport the deoxygenated blood. Okay, but only one vein that transport the oxygenated blood, that we call it as a pulmonary vein. Okay, so I hope you remember. Okay, just now I know I told you that actually all artery actually transport the oxygenated blood, but this one for the heart, okay, only one artery that transport the oxygenated blood, that is artery pulmonary. Okay, so artery pulmonary will bring the deoxygenated blood to the heart, to the lung, okay, to get the oxygen. Okay, and then it will be transported by the pulmonary vein, okay, to bring the blood to the heart so it can pump again, so it can go through all of the part of the body. Okay, so I heard remember that one. And then aorta transport the oxygenated blood, okay, from hearts to all parts of the body. Okay, the one they have a three opening there. So why they have a three opening? That one is to increase the blood circulation. Okay, to increase the amount of blood. Okay, so this is the type of valve involved. Sorry. Okay, so bicuspid, tricuspid, and semilunar. This one I don't want to explain. We already told you about it. Okay, and then this one, the function of valve, also we already discussed. Okay, so I will stop until here. Okay, I will stop until here. Alright, so what I want you to do now, I will assign a homework for you, okay, to do in Google Classroom. And for the module for chapter 3, I will put, okay, maybe I try my best next week, because I think I already told you I have a marking for SPM. Okay, so I try my best. For when I already put, I will tell you. Okay, for chapter 3. But until now, what I want to do, please complete first chapter 2. Okay, and for those who still didn't go, please go and take. Okay, and then complete it. Alright, and this one I will give the notes. Okay, as soon as possible. Okay, so sorry. Alright, so I think I stop now. If you have any question, you can text me. Okay, you can text me. It's anytime. Okay, so hope you can understand. Right, so thank you. Right, take care. Right, and bye.